Today, we're talking with Robert Torrey with Real Broker. Robert's been an agent for over 14 years and actually an independent brokerage for 5 of those years. Today, we're going to be picking his brain about what his top sources of business are today in 2024 and what his advice is for newer agents. Robert, how you doing today?
Hey, Malcolm, how are you, man? I'm doing great.
Doing really good, man. Well, appreciate your time today. Well, let's just dive in, man. What would you say today are your top 3 sources of business into your real estate business?
So right now, it definitely is referral based, which we work with a lot of local builders and our past clients, and then other agents throughout the country. So that's probably one of our number one sources of business. Number 2 is SOI, so our sphere of influence, and then number 3 is still online leads, which is Zillow, Realtor.com, Google pay-per-click, website leads, things like that.
I love it. And so do you have a system in place for getting more referrals from like agent to agent referrals or referrals from businesses? How have you systematized that process?
So I think number 1 is staying in contact with people that send you business, and then if you can, reciprocating it. So like we try to send business, where it comes from. So if you're doing business with us and we have a referral going back to you, we'd love to send it back to our referring partners. And then just handling the referral with the white glove service. So doing an awesome job on the referral base. And then we also keep the referring partner up to speed on what's going on in the transaction. So that way they know that their client is being taken care of. So we do updates throughout the file with the referring partner as well.
Okay. What do those updates look like? Do you have it like at certain milestones you reach out?
Depending on what it is, if it's a listing or if it's if it's a listing, if we go out on a listing appointment, we'll say, hey, I met with the client, had a listing appointment. If the contract was signed, then we'll give them the update of what the contract looks like so they know what the referral fee would look like. Then we tell them how we're scheduling pictures, when we're going to go live. And then we'll touch base, if we're under contract, how many showings we're having, what the feedback looks like, just to give them a general idea of how the listing's going.
Yeah,
then obviously when closing's coming.
That sounds great. My most frustrating part with sending out referrals is just like lack of communication. I give them a referral. I don't know if they reach out to them. I don't know if they made contact or where they're at. So that's fantastic. Like actually communicating with the referral partner.
So the way we think about it is, what do I want when I refer a client to somebody? Yeah. So if I refer you a client, that person's important to me and special to me, and I want to make sure they have a good process when they take the next partner on. So if I'm referring it to you, I'm holding you to a high standard if I'm giving that referral. Because one thing we don't do is we just don't send referrals to anybody. I'm just not putting a message out there, hey, I got a referral for you, you're going to give me 25, 30%. We make sure that referral partner is vetted, and all of our referrals come the same way.
Okay. And what's that process look like? How do you vet a referral agent to make sure like they're a good fit for your clients?
So if I don't know the person, or I haven't been a recommendation from another agent or somebody else I've done business with, I'll hop on a call just like this. I'll ask them how much business they've done, what price points they're looking at, what cities they work in, what's their expertise, how long they've been in the business, and then we'll review their reviews on Google or on Zillow, and just get to know the agent. And I'll set my expectations as a referring partner of what I expect from my clients as well.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. Like personally, I feel like probably less than half the referrals that I send out ever actually close, maybe even only 0.25%. So they kind of make sense to hop on a call with somebody, set those expectations, vet them. Like that probably is going to increase that close rate of your referrals just by vetting them a little bit.
Absolutely. And sometimes when we send referrals, we don't take a referral fee on it. Like there's sometimes that happens. A lot of times top producing agents do not want to pay a referral fee. They're too busy. Right. And if your client's expertise, that agent is who you really want to work with in that market, sometimes we send it over just for the better good of the client.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, the next time that agent has a referral in your market, I'm sure like you're going to be top of mind just by hooking them up like that.
And a lot of times it goes back and forth, and we receive referrals without paying referral fees as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's based on the service that we provide, and the business is going back and forth. So the referral I'm paying back is by sending business back.
So you have essentially like a lot of relationships with a lot of agents kind of like throughout, right? Like you probably have 20, 30 main agents that you're sending referrals back and forth to.
Yeah. So one of the things I first did when I got into real estate is I hopped right into coaching. I started with Tom Ferry, and then I've been with Mike Ferry. I've done it with a couple different other coachings, and I've networked it inside the coaching programs. So I know anybody willing to spend the money on coaching is a pretty good person to partner with as far as a referral. And I kind of have a background on them already. being that
Yeah.
we run the same coaching program, kind of have the same background as well.
That makes complete sense. I mean, even if you just had that criteria, like, hey, you have to be in coaching before I send you a referral, like even that minimum criteria would like weed out a lot of the bad agents out there. Okay. And so, yeah, you also said sphere of influence is going to be your kind of your second biggest source of leads. What does that look for you? Like for you, how do you tap into your SOI? How do you kind of stay in front of them to
So our SOI is like nobody. No, this is the way I've always approached it. I'm not the person that goes to a get together and says, "Hey, I'm a realtor. Give me some business." Never been that person. Never wanted to be that person. But I am the person that says, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm an electrician. I do this. I do this." "Oh, that's great. How long have you been in it?" And then they ask you the same question in the back, and they ask you, "What are you?" I say, "I'm a realtor." And then we base the conversation off that instead of just going straight at it and asking for referrals or asking for business from somebody in another professional organization. You kind of build that relationship with questions, I guess. And
Yeah. Okay.
do
So
that everywhere we go. Like if I'm in a run club, if I'm at the gym, no matter where I'm at, I'm constantly networking and asking people, what do you do? Like, what are you into? And just kind of opening the door for conversations.
yeah, I love that. So relationships first and then business afterwards. I feel like that
Never
makes
hear it come out of my mouth that I'm a realtor first. Never.
yeah, yeah. That's great. I feel like that totally makes sense. Like even when you're working with clients, they're going to get commission breath if you start asking them, "Oh, cool, you want to buy? You're pre-approved." With agent attraction, again, it's relationship first, and really with anything, like you have to build those relationships. So when you say SOY, are you referring to mostly like other businesses?
Sphere of influence, all right. So
Yeah.
people that I have influence on, and what that means is when I said I'm genuinely asking. So when I'm asking what you do, I'm genuinely asking because I want to know if I can add it to my database. Like, you're an attorney, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're a drywaller, you're a landscaper, whatever you do. I'm genuinely asking when I meet somebody and they have a good personality where we connect. I want to know what you do if I can add you to my referral base. So if I can add you to my referral base, I'm building my business for my clients. So it's not necessarily I'm putting my real estate business out there. I'm adding to my referral base. And then
Yeah.
as I send them business and I build the relationships, they tend to ask me more about myself and learn more about me. And that's kind of how we build it.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like some people kind of combined like sphere of influence and like their database or like past clients. They just kind of combine that. But you see those as like separate things. Your
Yeah.
database of past clients versus sphere of influence, and SOI is mostly like other professionals in your market. Is that kind of how you view that?
Yeah. So my database is also my database is the whole, right? It's the past clients, the SOI, the
Mhm.
leads that are coming in. That's all my database. But we categorize them so that way we can watch where we're making the most money from, where our business is most profitable, where we should putting most of our time at.
Yeah, that's actually really insightful. Okay, so the database, the whole thing, and then SOI is within that database, and that's separate from like past clients.
Yeah.
Past clients would be a different category within your database. Okay, that makes sense. And then you also mentioned internet leads, and this is something that I'm really interested in right now because I'm generating a lot of internet leads organically, and I'm trying to hand those off to agents in my market. And I'm struggling with that, struggling to get them to consistently follow up with them, call them, speed the lead, and actually close them. Well, first off, what are the sources of internet leads that you work?
So we've done Zillow for 14 years since we've been in the business. I've been on Zillow and Realtor.com. We've came and gone with that a little bit. We've done OpCity when OpCity was around. We've done
Mhm.
like pay per click, like Google pay per click. We've done stuff through our CRM, like Boomtown, like online leads, having people managing the account. So basically, I've experimented with every type of online lead that you could imagine, like Facebook, Instagram, all of them. And for the longest time, Zillow was the best lead.
Yeah.
It was the best lead. It was the most dialed in client that was looking to buy. And you had to weed through the bad ones to get the good ones, but it was always a reliable source. And lately it's been kind of trending down a little bit.
Really?
The lead cost is just so high, and the lead count that's coming in for you're paying for is starting to get borderline if it's worth it or not.
Wow, interesting. What do you think that you pay for Zillow leads in order to get one closing? Like 3,000, 4,000 worth of leads?
I mean, if you're not spending, I mean, depending on the zip code, because everybody area is different. But I mean, if you're not the top three in your zip code, whichever zip code you choose, you're probably just wasting your money. I mean,
Really?
you might have an opportunity to get one lead, here or there, but you want to be in the top 3. You want to be the top 3 agent in your zip code. And
And
depending on the zip code and price point, it's going to vary in price.
how do you become the top 3? Is that based off of reviews, or is that just based off
spend? It's straight up spend. They don't care. Just put the money up.
Wow. Okay.
100%. They don't care about they do care about your reviews, but you can go to number 1 just by money. They're not going to weed you out because your reviews are bad. They're going to let you go to number 1 if you're spending the money.
Okay, so it's definitely the most expensive one. So let's say somebody's on a budget and they want to get into online leads, and you Realtor.com, Zillow, Google pay-per-click, Facebook, probably some other ones. What if somebody had $1,000 a month to invest? Where do you think the best online lead would be for them?
Right now, I would probably invest in building your brand online through Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. If you have $1,000, invest in yourself and invest in your brand. I wish I'd have done that 14 years ago.
Yeah, that you bring up a great point, because like that is how we compete with Zillow, is our personal brands, and the leads that you do get from that are some of the highest sources of leads that you can get out there.
Well, I can tell you about anytime you're dealing with an online lead source that you're paying for a third party, they can change the game anytime they want. So you can think you're playing this game a certain way, and they can just say, hey, you know what? We had a meeting. This game's changed. We're going this way. Or you could be spending a certain amount of money expecting to get a certain amount of leads, and they can just raise the zip code and sell the zip code more too. So you're always at the mercy of the company. Now, if you build your brand, you're building something that has more longevity, and it's going to stick around a lot longer, and you have the full control over it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what does that process look like? Like you get a lead from Zillow, Google pay-per-click, Realtor.com. What's that process look like for you guys? How do you convert those?
So I can tell you, I'll speak to the past, obviously not going forward with the NAR stuff coming out August 17th. But for us, it's always been number 1, speed to lead, answer the call and set the appointment, right? That's always been number 1, get out in front of the client. And the reason we found that is when you start, and you'll have different people say, pre-qualify them over the phone and do all this, which I agree, that's great. But a lot of times the client just wants to see the house.
Yeah.
You're just the entry to that door to start with. So when you go to that showing, make sure you're really prepared, right? And when I'm speaking online leads, most online leads are buyer leads. So you're typically not getting a lot of listings. So go prepared, add your value, pre-qualify them on the appointment, but you have to answer that lead quickly, and you have to set the appointment. If you miss that lead and it goes days down the road, the odds of them answering the phone after that, it just drops.
Yeah. Okay. And so instead of setting a buyer consultation appointment, you just go right to the showing. You give them what they want, and then you kind of have those conversations with them while you're showing them the properties.
So for the longest time, everything was going highest and best in our market. Everything was just flying off the market. And the lead calls, they want to see, 123 Banana Street. And we'd say, okay, great. You want to see this property? We would ask are you working with an agent? Obviously, because if they're working with an agent, just stop right there. That's the question you ask. What time would you like to see it? Right, and then you set the appointment. You go out, and there's a lot of times that person might not be able to get qualified. They might not be able to get a loan. They might not be able to get a mortgage. We then put them in our database, nurture them, and build that relationship for longer. But a lot of times they can get qualified and they're willing to write an offer, or start working with you, looking at different houses. They typically might not buy the first house they look at. This could be a 6 month to a year process. But I think setting the appointment and getting out in front of them and meeting them without grilling them on the phone on the first time you meet them, it really goes a long ways into building that relationship.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So you don't ask them a million questions on the phone. You just like, great.
Not to start with. And like I said, this is in the past. Our systems are changing moving towards the future. That's how we did it in the past.
Well, let's hear about that with August 17th coming, really quick. How is that going to change? Are you, do we need buyer broker agreements now before we show properties? Maybe it's different for every state.
Not yet. We don't, but we're really transitioning to get away from the online leads. Like we're transitioning. We're going to start working to building the brand more. We're going to focus more on the SOI. We're going to focus more on the referral base. So we're actually going to transition based on what the market's doing.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the online leads might not be as valuable as they used to be. You know, imagine you call and you want to see a house. I say, hey, by the way, welcome. Before you can see this house, I need you to sign this buyer broker agreement. And you don't know me from anybody. I'm just a voice on the other side of the phone, as opposed to the referral coming in, say, hey, I want you to work with Malcolm. Malcolm's a great realtor. I've known him a long time. He's going to take great care of you. Let me do an introductory call. So now the client going in already knows who you are. And they're more likely to want to work with you based on that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a much higher quality lead that way. Right now, when you get a lead, if you can't get a hold of them the first day or two, like what does that process look like? Do you try like 3 phone calls in the first 3 days? You try texting? What's
We
that?
do all three. We do all three initially, right? It's phone call, text messaging, emailing. And like with Zillow, a lot of times they try to do a direct connect. So what they'll do is they'll just call you. And if you don't answer, they'll just move on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But with most of it, like if that lead comes in, like right now, if I'm not on this call, I'm taking that appointment right now. I'm answering the phone call, I'm responding. And if you can usually get that in the first minute, usually the connection is really good.
Yeah.
And you can, maybe even set the time up for a further call down the road. But you got to make that initial contact. Like, hey, it's Robert. I know you want to see this house on 123 Street. Is there a better time for us to talk and go into a little more detail? Right. But you got to make that initial contact, because they'll just keep scrolling and keep clicking away and finding agents right down the list.
And email marketing is something that I'm really kind of focused on this year. All these internet leads, are they all being added to an email list? And do you do any kind of mass emails to everybody?
No, we don't. We probably should, but we don't. I've never liked the spam emails personally. And we were doing it for a while, and just the opt out was just massive.
Yeah.
So now what I do is I have I schedule my database based on the interaction. So I have like a top 50 right now that I keep those, and those people can always move around. And we're expanding it to maybe top 75. And to be in that list is somebody you got to consistently send business, consistently talk to, consistently interact with. Nice. And that's the database we really focus on.
So we're now in Q3 of 2024. What are you focused on in your business right now? Like, what are some of the major changes and focus of your business?
So right now we're looking at the transition coming up that everybody's been talking about. We're definitely going listing heavy, and we're going to work on building the brand more on social media and on YouTube. So that's kind of where we're trending.
And what's that going to look like for you for building your own personal brand?
Like I always told everybody, I'm an introvert extrovert. Like I'm so extroverted when I'm out with clients and out doing things. When I come home, I want to be an introvert. And I have a lot of like small groups that we associate with that we give a lot of content to for free, a lot of mastermind calls, a lot of stuff that we talk about. And instead of being introverted when we go home, we're going to actually start sharing that content with everybody. Like our best practices that we do in real estate and building a team and capitalizing on referrals and your SOI. And then a lot of stuff that's important to me is like fitness and health and diet and things like that. So, I believe in balance, like as far as like, I can't just be 100% in on my real estate business and not have my health lined up.
Yeah.
Because if my health's not lined up, my real estate business is going to fail.
100%.
If my real estate business is failing, then my health's failing. And then I'm not there for my family. So those 3 tiers right there have to be going good for you. So, family, business, health.
Yeah. I've absolutely realized that as well. Like me going to the gym has a positive impact on my business.
For sure, man.
Yeah,
for sure. And it's written into my schedule. So I'm big on the schedule. If it's not in the schedule, and I got this from Tom Ferry, if it's not in the schedule, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. So it's in your calendar, it's in your schedule. You know what you got to do. So my day is the same. It's like it's robotic on how my day goes from the start to the finish.
Oh, I love that.
The only thing changes is the appointments throughout the day, but my start and finish and everything in the middle.
Well, let's dive into that. What's your start and what's your finish look like?
Okay. Well, usually we're up at 4:30. It's a coffee and breakfast. And then it's either going for a run in the morning based on my schedule, or going to the gym and getting a lift in.
Okay.
And then I come back and I eat a breakfast where I follow, my macronutrients. I'm taking in I eat breakfast, same thing every day, 250 grams of egg whites, 1 whole egg, maybe an oatmeal, maybe a piece of toast. Then on the way to work, I'm grabbing a protein shake, hit the office. And first thing I do is I hit my database, hit my past clients, just touching base, a real friendly, what's going on today. Make 5 contacts in the morning. So that's the first thing I do when I get in the office. And then I'll scan my emails. I'll go through anything I got to touch base with any deals. And I'll work on some personal stuff like throughout what I'm building, like what we're trying to do as far as what we're adding to Instagram, YouTube, things like that. And then we'll start prospecting, and we'll go into even maybe for sale by owners, expireds, circle prospecting around our listings. And then I go into lunch. I eat lunch around 11:30. It's typically going to be rice and chicken, steak and rice and fish, something like that, something of that mixture. And then honestly, then I have a dog walk in there, right? I take my dog for a walk. She needs a walk. I go home, I do that. And then appointments go on from there on. So my appointments will start about 1:30. And then I'll get a second. I'll either get a lift in or I'll get a run in at the end of the day to cap it. And I'll eat dinner, which would be the same thing, which would be chicken, rice, fish, sweet potatoes, broccoli, something of that.
Dude.
And then we're in bed at 8:30.
You got this dialed in. I love it, man.
You know, like my schedule was so sporadic before, and like I find being like just simple is the easiest thing for me. Like a lot of things that people don't know is about 7 years ago I was almost 300 pounds, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like, and my diet was crazy. Everything was off. You know, business was booming. You know, I was selling 125 houses, but my health was deteriorated. You know, some of my family relationships weren't great because I was all in on my business, and there was no balance with anything else.
Yeah, geez, man, that's quite a turnaround. And like what a lot of people don't realize is like you walking your dog has a positive impact on your business. You eating healthy lunch and meals has a positive impact on your business as well.
I guess I should add on to that. Like anytime I'm doing something, if I'm walking my dog, I have I might be texting clients or on a phone call with a client as well. I might be talking to an agent. I might be working on a deal during that dog walk.
Yeah.
Like even on my run or a bike ride, or if I'm in the gym, I can be connecting with clients through text messaging. So even though I'm doing something for myself, this is my mobile office right here.
Yeah.
That's my mobile office, right? Like we have a laptop or my MacBooks in my truck. You know, if I have to pull off somewhere. So at any given time, we're working. We're just taking the time to take a breath and you know, bring ourselves together, you know. So that personal time I need is just keep me rolling.
I love it. Well, Robert, if anybody had any referrals for you, what market are you in?
So we're in Michigan. We're like North Oakland County, but we do most of Metro Detroit. So we're in Bloomfield right now. We typically service about 30 to 45 minutes. Occasionally we go farther than that, but most time I try to stay in that 30-minute window.
Okay. And if anybody wanted to follow you on social media or get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
Instagram, Rob T Sells. You can email me at roberttorrey@gmail.com.
All right, perfect. All right, Robert, man, I really appreciate your time. This is super insightful today.